one that thought she could and one that thought she couldn't, and both of them were right. So I grew up in Long Island, New York, or as they say, Long Island, New York. New Yorkers in the house? All right. Yeah, actually, a lot more in common than I thought. And I wanted to be three things when I grew up. I wanted to be a doctor, I wanted to be a professional basketball player, and I wanted to be a broadcast news journalist. So I wanted to be Linda Martin so bad when I grew up. And I would have become a medical doctor if it wasn't for my extreme fear of needles and the sight of blood. So people that know me really well know that if I see blood or needles, you better get a chair or a couch or something because I'm going to go down. And yes, I am a United States Marine, and I retired after 21 years and 3 combat tours, but you bring a needle around me and it's still going to be a problem. So I did, though, become a doctor. I have my PhD in industrial organizational psychology. It's okay if you don't know what that is. My family doesn't even know what I do still. But it is the research of human behavior at work. And so I've enjoyed doing that with many different government agencies, the private sector, and different academia throughout nonprofits, and just really building different assessments, personality tools, leadership development tools for many different things. Now getting on to professional basketball. I wish I could say I was in the WNBA, but no. When I was younger, I remember making a poster saying I was going to be in the NBA, and a little boy said, "Girls can't be in the NBA." And I remember my dad saying, "You can do anything you want to do." You know how good parents tell you that. But the WNBA actually came about and celebrated over 20 years in existence, which is really amazing that women can go and follow their dreams. I did not go into the WNBA. I did go in the Marine Corps into what is called the All-Marine Women's Basketball Team. It's as close as you can get to professional basketball playing in the military. Traveled all around the world and playing against the best of the best the military has, and earning the silver medal for the Marine Corps. And we were not able to beat the Army, so those of you in the Army, still a sore point, but they have the really tall players always. But I'm very proud of that accomplishment, and just love that opportunity. I'm in college, though, studying communications, trying to be Linda Martin. One of my professors told me, "You will never make it in radio. That voice, you're just never going to make it." And very crushing, right? And so I went on to the Marine Corps after college. And the way that the Marine Corps gives you your job, or assigns your job, is very different. So after officer candidate school, which is like boot camp for officers, you go to this great place called the basic school. It's like college all over again. You get to hang out with all your best friends. No, it's really not. I'll tell you, but when you get there, it's 6 months long, and you learn every job that the Marine Corps has to offer by actually doing it. So you actually do infantry, tanks, artillery, air traffic control. I mean, every single job that they have. And at the end of the 6 months, you rank every job, 1 through 60, whatever it is. And you hope that you get something in your top 10. So after the 6 months, I realized I don't want to do any of those jobs, especially the ones that are going to be out in the field, in the dirt, in the ground. So I put everything in the top that's air supply, air support, air defense, air traffic control. I would have put Air Force if I could have. So comes time to get my job, and they give me air support control. I have no idea what that is, what I picked. Turns out that air support is nicknamed the hyphen of the Marine Corps. So the Marine Corps is known as the MAGTF, or the Marine Air-Ground Task Force. I just gave myself the MOS, or Military Occupational Specialty, their job, that deploys like 80% of the time. Anytime that the air has to go somewhere and the ground has to go somewhere, the hyphen has to go. So I now actually became one of the most deployed Marines and jobs that there was. So much so that I became one of the most well-recognized voices around the world, because when you look like this and you sound like this in the Marine Corps, you're very popular. So I will say I did very well in radio. So I didn't have to listen to what that professor had to say. So much so that later at the Pentagon, while I was working at the Pentagon, and another officer, while I was giving a briefing, he's just staring at me the whole time. And after the briefing is over, he comes rushing up to me. He says, "I know you. During Iraq, you helped me and my Marines. Thank you." And I'm like, "I'm sorry, I don't know who you are." And he says, "I know your voice." So it was just amazing to hear that, and I was really thankful to hear that as well. But I controlled several missions during Iraq. I received an Air Medal for some of the work that I did, controlling missions for fixed-wing aircraft, which are your jets, fast-moving aircraft, and helicopters as well, for medevac flights, getting our people and our things places that they needed to go. Did many different things in the Marine Corps that I am very proud of. I did active duty time in what they call reserve time. After years of active duty service, I decided to leave active duty and actually use my degree. And when I was getting ready to do that, everyone told me, "You'll have no problems finding a job." I had a PhD at that time. I had 3 combat tours, as I mentioned, in Iraq. I was a major in the Marine Corps. And I got out off active duty and I started looking for work. And I kept looking for work. 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months. After almost a year of being unemployed, I was just in a really deep depression. I couldn't even look myself in the mirror. I just felt like I no longer had any purpose in life. I didn't know what to do with myself. I was trying to get ready yet for another interview with another Fortune 500 company. And I was going over the questions with my sister. And she's helping me, and she's reading the questions, preparing, and she says, "Can you work long hours? 12 to 15-hour days?" I'm like, "Yes, sure." She says, "Can you stay on your feet for long hours at a time?" "Yes, I can do that." "Can you travel to many locations?" "Yes, I can do that." "Can you lead several hundred people?" "Yes, I can do that." She says, "Wow, do you want to do this?" "This sounds awful." And I was like, "Yeah, you know what? You're right. It does. I've already done this. Sounds like every operations officer job I ever had. I don't want to do that." And that was the last time I applied for any of those jobs. So, thank you. At that point, point, I stopped applying for jobs that the Marine Corps told me I was supposed to be doing. As a major in the Marine Corps, a leader, yes, I can do all of those things. But I started applying for industrial organizational psychologist jobs, stuff that I had passion to be doing, which also I could do. And that's where my confidence started coming in. And that's the secret sauce I'm going to give you today. If you're at a place in your life where you feel like your confidence is just really shot, it could be a part of this equation is off for you. And in the military, when they're about to give you the secrets or the answers to a test, they go like this. So I'm giving you the secrets right now. I'm giving you the answer. Okay? So competence is like your skill sets. All right? That's like the easy definition of that. You want to take a look at whatever you're doing in your life right now. Look at the skill sets that you have for that. If your confidence is really low, you might need to go take a class in whatever you're doing. Maybe you need to boost up your skills in that area. If you have the skills to do it, then maybe the passion isn't there. Like, I had the skills to do all of those jobs, but those jobs really sucked, and I didn't want to do them anymore. So the passion maybe isn't there. So you might need to start making a list of what it is you really want to do. And maybe you need to make that step into that field where the passion is. Once you're able to marry these two things up, your confidence is going to soar. So just like I started out, there were two Karens, one that thought she could and one that thought she couldn't. Both of them were right. At any given time, you could replace that name with yours, and that could be you. Because there's two, and both of them are right, and you have to explore that. And you're in charge of what happens next. I have my contact information up here at Dr. Combat Pink, but I'm going to tell you what I tell a lot of people to continue your journey now as Dr. Combat Pink. But stay bold, stay beautiful. Doctor's orders. Mwah.